Welcome to State of the Offense, your unbiased coverage of your favorite team's offense, the Seattle Seahawks. At this point of the year where there are so many unknowns, I believe that Seahawks fans should expect an exciting offense going into the 2023 season. The Seahawks finished 12th in total offense, 11th in passing, 18th in rushing, and 9th in scoring, which earned them a 9-8 record and an appearance in the NFC playoffs. In the skill positions, the Seahawks bring back all of their primary starters from last season. In the draft, the Seahawks added two new playmakers in the first two rounds, with wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State and running back Zach Charbonnet from UCLA. Most fantasy football shows will only mention skill players, but at State of the Offense, we do look at the entire offensive unit. We start in the trenches by analyzing the condition of the offensive line first. On the offensive line, the Seahawks will bring back four of their starters from last year. Seattle signed former Detroit center Evan Brown. 2022 first-round pick Charles Cross started at left tackle from day one, and he played 99.8% of the snaps. He graded at a 77, which placed him as the number 25 left tackle in the game as a rookie. Continuous improvement by Cross should eventually find him in the Pro Bowl. Damian Lewis returns as the starting left guard. In 2022, Lewis had a career-high grade of 78, and he was the 11th best left guard in the NFL. Lewis is in a contract year. Seattle signed Evan Brown to a modest one-year deal. Brown played for the Lions, and he graded at a 68, which places him in the bottom five centers starting in the game. Phil Haynes is back at right guard. Last season, he graded at a career-best 71, which places him as the number 25 right guard in football. Haynes is in a contract year as well. The Seahawks drafted starting right tackle Abraham Lucas from Washington State in the third round last year, and he was a pleasant surprise. He played 88% of the snaps, and he graded at a 74, which was good enough for number 17 at the position. The group is set at tackle for a while, but the entire three interior offensive line positions are free agents next spring. The group is young enough with enough talent to eventually gel into a solid group for the next few years. Who knew that Geno Smith was this good outside of the Seahawks organization? The Seahawks realized that they could accomplish more of what they wanted with Geno Smith at a lower cost than with Russell Wilson. Needless to say, the emergence of Geno Smith made the Seahawks organization look brilliant. The foundation of the team was directly built off that trade. Meanwhile, Geno Smith completed just under 70% of his passes last year, threw for over 4,000 yards, and he had a 30-11 touchdown to interception ratio. If you think 2022 was a fluke, when Geno played in place of Russell Wilson for 4 games in 2021, his numbers were very similar to his 2022 performance. Geno is now in his 4th year in Seattle, and he is clearly the number 1 quarterback. He has been through a lot in his career, and he has matured into a good leader, and he is still only 32 years old. He is currently the quarterback 15 in fantasy drafts, position 127, which would make him an 11th round pick. He was the quarterback 6 in total points and quarterback 9 in average points per game. You might be able to get starting production from him next year as a QB1. If you are a late quarterback drafter, Geno is your type of guy for 2023. In a 2 quarterback or super flex, Geno is a strong fantasy number 2 option. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett have been one of the best wide receiver duos since 2019. The days of the Seahawks running 2 and 3 tight end sets may be officially over now that Seattle used the 20th overall pick in the draft on Jackson Smith-Njigba. JSN knows how to play with 2 other talented wide receivers. In 2021 at Ohio State, he had better numbers than Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, who are arguably the 2 best rookie wide receivers in 2022. No defense in the league should have the cornerbacks to be able to match up with the sheer talent that DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba bring to the table. DK Metcalf is currently going as the wide receiver 12, the 32nd player drafted. Tyler Lockett is the wide receiver 29 and the 79th player drafted. And Jackson Smith-Njigba is the 37th wide receiver drafted and the 98th player overall. This makes DK a 3rd round pick, Lockett a 7th round pick, and Jackson Smith-Njigba a 9th round pick. As a Seahawks fan, you already know that most fantasy players overvalue Metcalf and they undervalue Lockett. They usually have similar numbers, but you can get Lockett at a 4-round discount. Draft Lockett in the middle of the draft and you will have a chance to win your league. While I really like DK the player, he should not be taken 4 rounds ahead of Tyler Lockett. They're probably in reality both 5th and 6th round producers, but the general public makes this mistake repeatedly. I think that Seattle likes to run the ball a lot, so I'm not sure if the volume will be there for Jackson Smith-Njigba as a rookie to be worthy of a 9th round pick. In the long run, I view Jackson as the 2nd or 3rd best rookie fantasy prospect in this class. He will eventually blossom into one of the league's best, but DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are as established as any veteran group in the NFL. In 2025, I could see Jackson Smith-Njigba and DK Metcalf being a dynamic duo. I think Tyler Lockett is a guy that will continue to command attention in the Seahawks offense. No other wide receiver is warranting any type of draft consideration. Noah Fant came in the Russell Wilson trade. The Seahawks play Will Dissly and Colby Parkinson enough snaps to muddy the fantasy situation for tight end. Fant is currently the tight end 29, which makes him an undraftable player. Fant is more talented than a waiver wire player, but that's his role in Seattle. He is in a contract year. His dynasty value will probably increase if he leaves Seattle. The Seahawks irritated most fantasy football players by drafting Zach Charbonnet in the 2nd round after they had great production already from Kenneth Walker in his rookie year. After Rashad Penny got hurt, Walker stepped in and averaged 12th best running back points per game in fantasy. He was still the running back 13 in total points in spite of a lack of production until week 5. The Seahawks have learned that you can never have too many good running backs. In the past, injuries to players like Rashad Penny and Chris Carson proved costly. Zach Charbonnet was the 3rd running back drafted in a very solid running back class, and he was the only running back drafted in the 2nd round. In fantasy drafts, Kenneth Walker is the RB17, player 40 overall, which put him in the 4th round. Charbonnet is running back 38, player 129, which would place him in the 11th round. I think the plan the Seahawks may follow will be similar to what they did last year with Kenneth Walker and Rashad Penny. Before Penny's injury, Walker played 12, 9, then 25 snaps. In week 4, when both were healthy, Penny played 48 snaps and Walker had 25 snaps. I could see that being the case this year with Walker and Charbonnet, where they build Zach Charbonnet's snaps as the season goes along and look at that rate of about 50 snaps for Walker and 25 for Charbonnet. With the timeshare, I'm not sure that Ken Walker is worth his draft position. I'm only drafting Charbonnet in redraft leagues if I already own Walker. In Dynasty League, Charbonnet is a good value in the 8 to 10 range of the 1st round. My biggest concerns for the offense are the interior offensive linemen being able to pass block effectively so they can allow Geno Smith to pick defenses apart. The Seahawks have great depth in the skill positions going into this season at running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Usually depth like that means that the team will not produce fantasy superstars. Geno Smith and Tyler Lockett are the best value picks amongst Seahawks players. DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker, and the 2 new rookies are probably getting a little overdrafted. If any injuries happen in the preseason, the Seahawks replacement players will become quality fantasy producers. The dynasty outlook for Seattle's young players is strong. The direction of the franchise changed completely after the Seahawks traded Russell Wilson to Denver. The playoff berth last season was nice to see, and if the 49ers struggle at quarterback, there is no reason that fans in Seattle should not expect a chance at an NFC West title. If you like today's coverage of the Seattle Seahawks offense, please hit the like and subscribe buttons.